Narrator. After 20 years of giving my blood, sweat, and sleep to one company, I got a phone call on a random Tuesday morning that ended everything. Daniel. My name is Daniel Foster. I was the senior logistics manager at a regional distribution company. Never missed a deadline. Never took a sick day. And for 2 decades, I made that company millions. They said it was restructuring. That word they use when they don't want to say you're replaceable. Daniel. At the time, I thought maybe she had something sweet planned. Maybe she'd tell me she was proud of me for staying strong. Turns out, she was packing her own boxes too. Wife. I think we need some space. I've been thinking about this for a while. Daniel. Wait, what? I just lost my job today. Wife. Maybe it's time for both of us to find something new. Daniel. She waited until I had nothing to tell me she didn't want me anymore. Daniel. In one day, I lost my career and the person I built my life for. But what she didn't know is that her timing was the biggest mistake of her life. What she didn't know I'd already started. I still remember the way she used to laugh at my dumb jokes. The way she'd wait up for me when I got home late from work, even if she was exhausted. We weren't rich, but we had dreams. A small lake house by retirement, maybe travel Europe one summer. For 20 years, I worked myself to the bone thinking I was building that life with her. She used to bring me coffee in bed on Sundays. She'd kiss me on the forehead and whisper, "I'm proud of you." And I believed her. I believed every soft word, every warm touch, every little gesture that made our house feel like a home. So when she sat across from me and said, "I think we've grown apart," it didn't just break me, it confused me. We hadn't been fighting. There was no big blow-up. Just distance. Slowly growing like a crack in the wall you don't notice until the whole thing starts falling. After she moved out, quickly, without tears, I kept telling myself this was just temporary. That she was overwhelmed. That she'd come back once she had time to think. But deep down, something felt off. Something had been off for months. She started taking solo retreats every other month. Started spending a lot more time on her phone. She locked her screen when I walked in. Changed her passwords. Said she needed privacy for her mental health. And I, like a fool, gave her space. But it wasn't space she wanted, it was distance. Distance from the life we built together. Distance from me. And now that I was unemployed, emotionally wrecked, and sleeping alone for the first time in 2 decades, she had exactly what she wanted. Still, I didn't get angry. Not yet. I just sat there in the house we shared, replaying everything in my head, wondering where I went wrong. Was I too focused on work? Was I not present enough? Was I no longer enough? And then came the night I saw the message that changed everything. It was around midnight when I saw it. I had fallen asleep on the couch again, too tired, too mentally drained to even make it to the bed. My phone had died earlier, but hers was charging on the counter. Just before I drifted off, her screen lit up with a notification. I wasn't trying to snoop, but the preview hit me like a punch to the chest. "I can't wait to see you again tomorrow night, Red Heart." I stared at it, heart pounding, hoping I read it wrong. But it was there, clear as day. And it wasn't from a friend or a cousin or some random coworker. It was from a name I didn't recognize. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't need to. The pieces started falling into place all on their own. The sudden need for space. The solo retreats. The quick exit after my job loss. She hadn't fallen out of love. She had just fallen in love with someone else. The next morning, I watched her like a stranger in my own home. She hummed while making coffee. She wore makeup even though she had no plans. She kissed her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. And still, I didn't say a word. I just observed. I started checking our bank accounts. Slowly, over the last 8 months, she'd been making discreet transfers to an account I never knew existed. She moved $500 here, $300 there, all under the label wellness or self-care expenses. It added up to nearly $27,000. Gone. Every transaction made while I was working overtime. While I was missing family events to earn bonuses. While I was fighting for a raise that I never got because I thought it would help us. I still didn't confront her. I wanted to be sure. I wanted more than a suspicion. I wanted evidence. And above all, I wanted to make sure she never saw it coming. So I smiled at her like everything was normal. I said, "Take all the time you need." She smiled back, thinking I was still weak, broken, desperate. But inside, something cold had switched on. The next weekend, she left for another one of her retreats. This one was supposed to be a week long, but her suitcase was heavier than usual. Her goodbye was colder. And the moment the front door shut behind her, I called an attorney. I didn't tell anyone, not even my best friend. I sat with that lawyer for 3 hours, laying out every detail, the bank records, the phone messages, the suspicious hotel receipts I quietly downloaded from our joint credit card account. He leaned back in his chair and said, "You're not just preparing for divorce. You're about to make this the cleanest takedown I've seen in 15 years. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about saving the marriage anymore. That was over the moment she started spending our shared money on someone else while pretending to meditate in the mountains. This was war, and not the loud, messy kind. This was silent war. Legal. Financial. Precise. I called my old friend Troy, an industry recruiter I hadn't spoken to in years. I didn't tell him about the divorce. I just said, "I've got time on my hands. If you know anyone looking for a supply chain strategist with 20 years of frontline and back-end experience, send them my way." He said, "You're in luck. 2 of my clients are struggling after layoffs. They need someone sharp, fast, and experienced." I had 2 interviews within a week. No suit, no tie, just my record, my results, and my readiness. While she was off with her new man, I was rebuilding. I changed my bank passwords, rerouted my direct deposit, started quietly moving joint funds to a secure trust account under my name only. I even switched the title of our second vehicle, the one she barely drove but was in both our names. Legally, she had no clue what I was doing. And because we weren't legally separated yet, I was fully within my rights to protect what I had. And when she came home, smelling like cheap hotel soap and another man's cologne, I didn't flinch. I asked, "Did you find the clarity you were looking for?" She smiled, half guilty, half proud. "Yeah, I think I finally understand what I need." I nodded. "Good. So do I." The next few weeks, I lived a double life. To her, I was still the broken man, cooking dinner in silence, folding laundry without complaint, sleeping on the couch without protest. But behind that quiet exterior, I was building something. One of the companies Troy connected me with was a mid-sized logistics firm struggling after a messy merger. I offered to consult part-time, under the radar. Within 3 weeks, I streamlined their entire inventory process and cut their delivery delays by 42%. The CEO was stunned. He said, "Where the hell have you been hiding?" I smiled and replied, "Just cleaning up my house." Word spread. I took on a second client, then a third. What started as freelance work quickly evolved into something more. I wasn't just consulting, I was rebranding. I launched a small LLC under my name, updated my LinkedIn, built a clean one-page website, and started publishing mini case studies on how I helped struggling supply chains recover in record time. Then came the moment that changed everything. A business journalist, someone who used to interview me years ago at my old company, stumbled across my posts. She emailed me. "Is this the same Daniel Foster who got laid off last quarter? Your comeback looks incredible." We talked. She ran the story. 3 days later, the headline hit the homepage of Business Chronicle. "Laid off logistics veteran reinvents industry model with micro consulting empire." And just like that, everything shifted. I started getting emails from clients across 3 states. Old colleagues reached out to congratulate me. I was invited to speak at a virtual business summit the following month. And her? She walked in one evening with groceries, glanced at my laptop, and froze. There on the screen was my face, next to the headline, bold and glowing. She said nothing, but I saw her pupils shrink. I saw her fake confidence tremble. And in that silence, I saw something I hadn't seen in months. Fear. She knew. She knew whatever plan she had just fell apart. But I didn't gloat. I didn't rub it in. I simply closed the laptop and said, "I'm going to need the house to myself next week. I've got back-to-back client calls." She blinked, stunned. "Client calls? Wait, what is this? You didn't tell me." I interrupted calmly. "You left when I had nothing. Don't act shocked now that I'd built something without you." Over the next few days, she changed. She started cooking dinner again, like old times. She began asking about my day, complimented my new haircut, laughed a little too loud at my jokes. But I wasn't the same man anymore. She wasn't coming back because she missed me. She was coming back because she saw what I'd become without her. I ignored the signs, just like she once ignored my pain. I let her try. Let her overcompensate. Let her pretend that she hadn't emotionally abandoned me months ago. Until the text started. It began with one message after she left the house. "I didn't mean for things to go this far. Can we talk tonight?" Then, "I miss how safe I felt with you." And then, 2 nights later, "I think I made a mistake." I didn't reply. Not out of spite, but because I had nothing to say. I was busy. I had 3 client contracts pending, an interview lined up with a major trade podcast, and a new accountant going over the business and corporation paperwork I'd filed 2 weeks ago. I had moved on, not just emotionally, but financially, mentally, spiritually. The house was mine. The business was mine. The peace was mine. She, on the other hand, was now facing a much colder world. The man she had left me for? Turned out he was married, with kids. And when his wife found out, the fallout was nuclear. He ghosted my ex before she could even pack a toothbrush. She tried to come home that weekend, suitcase in hand, tears in her eyes. I stood at the door and didn't move. She said, "I don't expect you to forgive me. I need time to figure things out." I looked at her calmly, just like she once did to me when I was at my lowest, and said, "You already had your time. I'm using mine better." And I closed the door. It's been almost a year since that door closed. I haven't heard from her since. She never showed up again. Never texted. Never called. I think, deep down, she knew there was nothing left to say. And honestly, I respected that. Not for her sake, but for mine. I needed peace more than I needed revenge. And the truth is, I got both. Today, I run my own consulting firm. I work with 7 companies across 3 states, all remote, all on my terms. I make more in a month than I used to in a quarter. But it's not about the money. It's about freedom. It's about waking up without that pit in my stomach, the one that used to whisper, "You're not enough." It's about rebuilding a life that no longer relies on someone else's approval, presence, or promises. I downsized my house, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I spend weekends at a cabin near the lake. The same kind of lake house we used to dream about. I just bought it, alone. No drama. No fake love. Just trees, water, and silence. And yes, there's someone new in my life now. She knows the whole story. And still chose to stay. She doesn't flinch when I talk about the betrayal, the pain, the rebuilding. Because she didn't fall in love with a man who had it all. She fell in love with a man who survived losing it. Sometimes I still think about the moment she left me. That cold, calculated silence as she walked out with her suitcase. And then I remember something my therapist told me. People show you who they really are when you have nothing left to offer them. And she did. She showed me everything I needed to see. So no, I don't hate her. I thank her. Because the moment she walked out, I walked back in. Back into my own life. Back into my own worth. Back into a version of myself I didn't even know existed. And now, I don't need her to come crawling back. Because I've already climbed so far ahead, she can't even see me anymore.